Good morning, everyone. It's Kim from Love Your Design here. So I was going to not put the camera on today because I'm kind of still in my jammies, but hey, we're all in lockdown. So um, now I wanted to talk to you about Psyche and Eros. I did mention that they were going to be conjunct, which means they're in exactly the same position. I didn't have the date. It's the 24th of June. I'll show you in a minute. But right now we have this kind of almost like a beginning of a process with them. So here in gate 25 with Mercury, we have Eros in gate 25, line 2. And if we go to the 51, we have Psyche here in gate 51. Now, this is a really important channel because what it does is it takes this communal heart energy, this very tribal energy, and it gives you a shock that makes you leap into a level of individuality. So it's something that catalyzes individuality in people through waking you up with shocking events. Um, let's talk about Psyche and Eros. So we'll start with Eros. Eros came out of, he's the generative principle that draws things out of the psychic void. So without Eros, we have no material reality. So from a scientific point of view, he's that active human principle that draws things from the void. How do we actually do that? Well, at the moment, he's kind of enslaved to his mother, Aphrodite. So there's this not particularly healthy relationship between the young Eros and the mother. And I think we see that playing out in more authoritarian regimes where, and I would almost include my own country in that, which is a bit shocking in itself. But things like taking away of women's health rights, abortion, and that kind of thing. So we see this really deep underlying resentment of the feminine, which comes from that young Eros. Not something that's generally associated with Eros, but I think that's definitely a part of the Eros myth as it's playing out at the moment. However, Eros does not come to life and mature into his own person until Psyche turns up. Psyche represents the desire for love, connection, love and connection. And so what we have is this capacity to draw things into life through connecting with desire. Now, Psyche for me really represents something very, very important in your human design chart. And you can go to Taraka, to this site, and look up all of your minor planets. And this is a just now chart, so you can check where they are at the moment as well. Psyche represents the process within each one of us where we have a particular desire for something that draws us into life. Psyche was very isolated. It was her desire that made her come alive. So I think we're at some kind of transitional moment between now and the 24th of June in being able to connect with a different kind of desire, a more, if you like, quantum kind of desire, something that gives us our individual connection to the quantum field. And it's being triggered at the moment by this channel here, which says we can no longer find our desires being met, or that we're kind of pushed down from above by old principles from that tribal energy, and we can't find the will to do in the old way anymore. To meet those old goals, to contribute in those old ways, that kind of energy is just draining away from us. And it can be quite shocking because, of course, these are the connections and relationships that have kept us safe and warm and fed and hugged and everything else. So that's all falling away. And we're needing to find this lovely, vulnerable, innocent sense of what could be possible. Okay, let's whip forward now with the magic of technology to the 24th of June. Now, by the 24th of June, Uranus will be in gate 24, which extraordinary. I'll have something to you on that fairly soon. I can't even. I have to write it first before I can actually say it. But really extraordinary, because we have Jupiter and Pluto here, and you can see Saturn's down here in the 60. 60 and 61 in the mandala, they're right side by side. Saturn's going to pop back up here into the 61. So we'll have Pluto, Saturn, and Jupiter in the 61 with Uranus in the 24. Extraordinary. Okay, so then we come down here, and in gate 23, ta-da, Psyche and Eros together, gate 23, line 3. Now, gate 23, line 3 is about, in the Rave I Ching, it's keynoted individuality, and Ra says it's an archetype of the individual process. This fascinates me because of the 2027 thing, which is shifting from an eon of tribal energy with all the institutions of tribal energy, the schools, the government, the hospitals, all of those caring institutions that are based on the needs of the tribe, to an individual energy. And again, I've got more coming to you on that as well. So we've got Psyche and Eros coming together in this gate, which Ra calls the archetype of the individual process. If we have a look at what Hilary Barrett's I Ching says, I haven't had my coffee yet, in gate 23, line 3, she says it's the stripping away of incorrect relationships. Let me think of something really quick to say about that. Environment, relationships, all the choices that we make in our life, which create a level of whatever level of correctness we're able to create for ourselves through those choices, is the level of individual genius and brilliance which we are able to bring forth into the world. Our environment and our relationships in particular actually create the foundation for what we are able to be, who we are able to be. So this gate here is, and in line 3, is saying something very, very particular, and I think it is an important counter on the pathway to 2027, that 24th of June date. Now here in the 43, we have Deucalion. And Sharon, here's Pele, if you're watching. She's there too. Sharon actually got me to put Pele into Taraka. So Deucalion. Deucalion is the Greek equivalent of Noah. So Deucalion is about the flood and getting the guidance from God, the voice of God saying, build a boat, do these things. So some of the themes that I've written down here for Deucalion, this is important, I think, aware of what's being washed away. We need to be, just coming back to Psyche in this a little bit, Psyche could be tricked and seduced. She lived in a dream, but she gradually woke up. If we go to Deucalion, there's something here about being aware of and I'm going to use the word evil. I've been saying this for a few years now. We have to see evil. We have to be able to see it and acknowledge it, and the shock of it. And we have to know these things, and we have to be empowered enough to see it and to see which, not so much, oh my God, there's evil out there, but what part of me is reacting against it? What part of me is noticing it? Because that's the psyche part of us. That's the desire. That's the part of us that says, if not this, then what? So Deucalion actually brings some activation to that, being overwhelmed and flooded. I mean, Deucalion's in 43 now. This is a really big energy that's around it at the moment, being overwhelmed and feeling like everything's being washed away. Being saved from disaster by divine intervention, and how to repopulate the earth. I think that's a really interesting one as well. So the other thing with Psyche and Deucalion, they both have a very highly developed moral code. And so if we go back to that innocent vulnerability that's been living in this dream of being cared for by, the tribe, and now that care, we're realizing, is not there. So there's this shock of the wake up of that. And then this process of finding, because what we are doing at the moment is creating a new moral code. And so we're drawing that out of ourselves in this process. So that's a bit of a roundabout story, but you get the general ideas. And between now and the 24th of June, just really pay attention to which part of you is noticing what's not right, which part of you is noticing the lack of care, which part of you is feeling a desire for something different, and really let that lead you to the action of Eros to draw from the quantum realms, the new world that we're creating together. I also just want to send out love to everyone who's really struggling with this whole lockdown coronavirus thing. And I hope you're all doing well, and as well as can be expected, and managing through these difficult times. And Kim from Love Your Design, I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.